Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're in review of the State of the Movement featuring Don Hufflines, Anthony Sabatini, Vince Dow, and more. This is going to be an event presented by the American Virtue. This happened yesterday from where it was filmed. Today is the 23rd, obviously, of July. I'm going to be reviewing this because I feel like my perspective is going to be the best, and I'm going to be the most even-handed. And, I know a lot of the background, and it's actually astounding how much I know. But I'm going to let you guys in on something, which is that this event is getting a lot of shit. We're going to be looking at the live chat as well a little bit in regards to the replay and see what the people say. And I'm going to be watching it with you guys for the first time. I haven't really seen it, and I'll give my commentary, I'll pause, whatever, and you guys will probably enjoy it. Let's go ahead and play it.
Welcome to the stage, Chief Operating Officer of American Virtue, C.J. Trappier.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the State of the Movement by the American Virtue Organization. My name is C.J. Trappier. I'm the Operations Officer for American Virtue. Thank you all for coming. Before we start, I just want to share a quick story that my mom shared with me a couple days ago. This was a family friend. She was at a theme park, and the national anthem played. And when the national anthem played, this woman, she refused to put her hand over her heart. And the reason being was because of the Dobbs decision. She was mad that she can't have the right to choose to kill her own baby. That's so sad. So I just want that to show how big of a change we need in this country. We need a spiritual change. You guys need to share the gospel with everyone because we need a spiritual change with everybody, okay? Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, this organization, these people, this country. Lord, we're the best country in the world and we need you right now. If it is your will, I pray that you save this country. Lord, also thank you for the overturning of Roe v. Wade with the Dobbs decision. Lord, that decision will save many lives. Lord, I pray for our country. It is sick. It is so ill that a man can be a man, or a man can be a woman, and a woman can be a man.
Bruh.
Lord, this is a moment in need of revival, and I pray I will see that in my
See,
lifetime.
a lot of people are
Lord,
going to
I
give
thank you.
him crap
In Jesus'
because
name,
he's going to be
amen.
stuttering in certain parts.
Next up to the stage.
But you would have to imagine that it's pretty difficult to speak in public, and
Next up to the
nevertheless,
stage,
you
I'd like
are
to
going to
welcome
stutter a
James
little
Anderson
bit.
White, contributor and MC of tonight.
Hey, can we get one more round of applause for C.J.?
Let's see the live chat, by the way.
The world would love to believe that we, the American people, have drawn the short straw, that our values are remnants of a bygone era,
Hold on.
and that our nation has no hope. But there is a new voice rising amidst a sea of chaos, a new generation that has decided that we are going to reclaim the American culture and reinstate our American virtues. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce and welcome you tonight to State of the Movement.
Again, it's pretty awkward. You can tell that the people didn't know what each other were going to say, and I think that that's going to be a communication issue. You can just chalk it up to that. Again, look, he has a deep voice, and that's cool and all, but then again, he's having these points where he's speaking, and he's expecting other people to have a reaction, and the people aren't picking up on that. Part of this is going to be because a lot of people in politics that are young are autistic, and that's going to be one thing. But the other thing entirely is that the people are not reading the room, even the ones that aren't autistic. And I just feel like that awkwardness is going to be ripped apart by the people in the chat. We're going to see a lot of bad faith interpretation, a lot of bullying, and I'm not going to be a Nefsler about it, but I'm just going to be honest and say, like, okay, these people in the chat are going to be pretty hostile, okay? I was reading the chat a little bit, so.
You know, it's truly incredible to have you all here because you all are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but you are the leaders of today, all of us here together. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty thrilled to be around all you good-looking, intelligent people all in the same room, so give yourself a round of applause.
That was pretty gay, all right? Again, most people in politics are unattractive. So to say, oh, I'm in a room full of good-looking people, that is just like to fluff them up. And it's very obvious. And unless you're in that in-group, it's going to come off as weird and corny. So most people are not in American Virtue. So by proxy, you're pissing off more people than you're ingratiating. And again, I'm nitpicking because I'm constructive about it. You're going to see the people in the comments pick them apart for their own amusement.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, starting off, folks, we've got one of the greatest leaders of today here this evening to really rev things up. Now, do you guys want to start off with some energy tonight? Here with us is a heavyweight fighter, feared not only by the political establishment in D.C., but the political establishment right here in the state of Florida. The Orlando Sentinel refers to him as someone who is adored by the conservative base, but a pariah in the halls of the Capitol. They say that his GOP colleagues don't really care for him, and you better believe that the feeling is mutual. Celebrated among the likes of U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert.
Why did his the volume went down dramatically? Again, these are going to be technical issues that are going to be reoccurring throughout the event.
Universally recognized as the most conservative state legislator in the state of Florida. And in a state dealing with the leftovers of the generations like Jeb Bush and Charlie Crist, he pulls no punches when it comes to defending the agenda of Governor DeSantis and President Trump. Now, he's running for Congress in the state of Florida in the 7th District to bring some of those same values all the way to D.C. And without further ado, give a huge Sunshine State round of applause for Florida's favorite son, Representative Anthony Sabatini. See you, buddy.
Okay.
Welcome to the free state of Florida! Here in the great state of Florida, the future of the Republican Party is not Jeb Bush, it's nationalist populism.
Populism? Uh-oh, bros.
I'm State Representative Anthony Sabatini, and I am a Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon conservative.
What the?
You know, it's interesting.
Oh,
Vince
man,
and the guys,
Steve
for the
Bannon.
OG members
Jesus.
of American Virtue and the guys who've been members of this organization for years, you might remember I did a video a couple years ago when I couldn't make it. I said, this time I'm making it no matter what. I got to be in Fort Lauderdale for a debate tomorrow morning for my congressional campaign on the side. And I said, I don't care if it's a 4-hour drive and I get there at 2 in the morning. I'm going to be here because this is the movement that's going to save America sitting in this room right now. This movement.
Well, that's a strong endorsement. If he's saying he drove 4 hours, like that would be a pain in the ass. So that's big.
And on top of that, tomorrow the debate is being moderated by Mark Levin, and he's a super neocon, and I don't really give a damn about it. We are done with neocons in the Republican Party. Dan Crenshaw, you suck!
Bruh. Okay, that was kind of effeminate. I'm not going to lie.
The single most important policy decision the Republican make is deporting Dan Crenshaw from the United States of America.
That is retarded. I'm sorry.
Dan, you are truly Eye Patch McCain.
Brother.
I'm an America First Republican. A lot of folks say, well, what does that even mean? What is for America First Republican? It means a few things. For one, it means protecting the country and putting the national country's interests first. The Republicans that voted to give $40 billion for a foreign war must each be primaried and expelled. You know it. Boo! They must be eliminated from the Republican Party. They have no future in our party. The future of the Republican Party is a party of peace and prosperity, and that means no more meddling in European affairs when they don't directly address the interests of the American people. Amen. Next,
Okay.
America First means stopping the systematic destruction of the middle class. Our woke, hegemonic corporations, headquartered largely in this country, are whittling away at the middle class of this country. Why? They don't want independent, autonomous citizens. They want compliant, obedient peons that look to Dr. Fauci as a living God. And the best thing we can do is revitalize the middle class of the United States, and that means focusing on trade, focusing on getting behind small businesses, and saying to hell with the corporations like Disney.
This is kind of awkward.
We need Republicans like my good friend Matt Gaetz or Paul Gosar, Thomas Massey, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are going to stand up and focus on the rights of workers and the needs of workers and the average American and not on these woke corporations. Right now, the biggest looming threat to the United States is what Republicans take over the Republican Party, because depending on the leadership we choose going into this next election, it could dictate if the outcomes are worse than they were from 16 to 18, when Republicans had control of all branches but delivered very few policy wins because Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell Republicans dominated our ranks. Folks, Frank Lunt's roommate, Kevin McCarthy, cannot be the Speaker of the next Republican majority in the Congress. Because the third prong of America First means destroying and completely obliterating big tech in the United States, the largest, most concentrated hegemonic power. That's interfering with our elections, interfering with our freedom of speech, and cutting down and destroying small businesses through their monopolistic practices that Republicans have turned a blind eye to for literally a decade now. So stopping big tech, protecting the middle class, stopping foreign wars are some of the most important things. But I will tell you, the Donald Trump 2016 agenda and his necessary and important prong that he created in the America First agenda, which is stopping the open border in this country, still remains significantly the most important policy goal of our movement. We need to build a wall taller than Trump even imagined. We need a 100% immigration moratorium with no exceptions.
Okay, now that is an important distinction among like the SAS attendees, right? A pretty big political deviation from the standard. Okay.
I think 2% of the room works for my campaign, so it's easy to start dancing that way. Immigration moratorium. Why? Not out of just anger, but purely because our policies should always focus on helping the people that are already here. Our immigration policy for way too long has been dictated by either irrationality or the needs of woke hegemonic companies that are adverse to American interests. It's time to have an immigration policy that protects workers and helps the people that exist already and who want a better life. No more extracting the goodwill and resources of America to help corporations that hate us. It's time to start focusing on the people who live here and breathe our air and die in our wars and love this country and fear God and wave the flag every single day. But I will tell you, we have a lot of work to do. This is a seed that's just been planted. It's only going to be a few years before we take over the Republican Party. But the work that remains before us is work that must be done before anything can happen. We are still a minority within the GOP. The GOP is still full of empty-suit establishment Republicans that really hate our country. You look at the Ukraine vote, you look at the newest vote, too.
Look, I'll be honest, I'm getting really bored of it, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit there to
The 47
1.75.
Republicans that voted for that should be ashamed, and they need to all be primaried and removed. There's no room for them. We need to repeal the Juneteenth holiday that the woke Congress passed last year.
Again, you'll see a lot of people in establishment politics say woke this, woke that. Again, that makes sense for boomers, but you're in a room full of 20-year-olds. You would think that you would use something more incendiary, but then again, you don't. I don't know. I find that kind of annoying. And, you know, you can look at the live chat to see what sort of constructive criticism we can gather from these intellectuals. America first. So again, you have these people that have their group America First, so that when any other person that is not affiliated says the phrase America First, which was used by Charles Lindbergh 80 years ago, you're going to be looking at some sort of virtue signaling about how, oh, it's this person's movement. And it just isn't. America First is a very generic phrase. And to basically copyright it is ridiculous. Now, let me look here. Carson Wolf is Jewish, and that's a good thing. So again, why feel the need to put in that Carson Wolf is a Jew? Hypothetically, I don't even know if he is. So let's assume he is a Jew. Why is that in the chat? Why do people feel the need to announce Jewish as an ethnicity? Again, I understand the correlations with that, you know, with the tribe and all that. But to spurg out at anybody who is Jewish is lacking the tactile sense of optics that you would need to run a movement, which is why the majority of the people that spurg out about Jews are going to be the people that are either in TRS, are Wignats, or are teenagers who are not well adjusted in society. You look at the average person that is anti-Semitic, and they are not Chads. You know, that doesn't invalidate the position. I'm just saying, I'm noticing patterns here. And so, Carson Wolf is a Jew. Yeah, so what? So what? It's annoying. AFPAC is simply the... Okay, so there's people infighting over here, whatever. We got what we needed from that.
That's non-negotiable. No more woke holidays. It's time to go back to the 4th of July.
Whoa.
And so I believe in you guys. I believe in this party because this movement is going to take over this party and make this country truly great again. It's the people in this room, the youth, the conservative youth, who love this country far more than anybody else. Why? Because they have to live in it for the next few decades, who are truly going to save it. From both parties, from the Uniparty. So God bless the nationalist populist movement. God bless the United States. And God bless everybody in this room. God bless America. I'm Anthony Sabatini.
Let's go. I'm just kidding. I'm not excited. That was okay, I guess.
USA, USA,
Again,
USA,
the main
USA,
distinction in here is that he said that he's anti-immigration, even legal. That's it. He didn't say I'm anti-gay marriage, I'm anti all this, you know, paraphrasing.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah.
You have your attention now? What a great speech, as always. You know, we've heard Sabatini speak a few times, and the energy is always off the charts, every single time. Now, next up, I'd like to introduce someone who's going to tell us a little more about what American Virtue is all about. He's a leader, a visionary, and some might even say a man of perspective. Please welcome to the stage the managing director of American Virtue, David Carlson.
What? No, DC perspective. Oh, God, I see the joke.
Well, thank you very much. I wanted to welcome you all.
Again, and I'm going to preempt you with this. People are going to begin to spurg the heck out from different corners of the internet about David Carlson. Oh, he's fetal alcohol syndrome David Carlson, David Down syndrome, all this. And I just got to say, look, even if the guy is ugly, to make fun of him over his looks constantly cannot be a Christian thing. And again, I'm not a moral F-slur. I'm going to make fun of people when I feel like. But then again, I don't find it funny when you're constantly just calling this person unattractive. And the people that are going to be ragging about how the people in American Virtue are unattractive are the same people that are going to be talking about how Ethan Ralph is the alpha male and whatever. And the guy is the least attractive human being on the planet, debatably. So again, these people are throwing stones from a glass house that is frankly already cracked, and you're going to be looking like an ass when you make fun of David for his looks when you have Ethan Ralph in your movement. And honestly, I don't see how any criticism of AV can be taken seriously when you're making fun of the people's looks as one of the main things that you have against American Virtue. Second thing is that, you know, David Carlson has a lot of personality quirks. I won't deny that. But again, to just solely focus on a couple people in American Virtue and throw it away because of that seems kind of asinine to me. So a lot of the issues that people have with David are really unfounded. And even if they are real, the insensitive bullying of David has me a little bit peeved at the people that are making fun of him. Okay, I think it's bad faith. I think it's really mean. And if I were David, I'd feel bad. Okay. And the same thing applies with other speakers. Okay. But we'll let him speak.
To our first official event as American Virtue. I'm super happy to have all of you guys here, but we have to address what's really happening in America. And let's not lie to ourselves, okay? America's sliding off of a cliff. You see it everywhere you go. You see it in your schools. You see it on the streets. You see it in the institutions. You see it in the classrooms, the things that they teach. You come home, tell your parents what you learned in school today. Oh, Mom, I learned that I can be a woman. Oh, Mom, I learned that I can actually, there's no such thing as a woman in the first place. So, they're not actually real. And the truth is, it's because they hate us. They hate us because we're Christians. They hate us because, because we are Americans, because we actually believe in justice and order and liberty and freedom. They hate us because they want to control us, and we don't want them to. And that's really all. And so we're facing all these problems, and now we're forced to ask, okay, what is the answer? What is the solution? And that's American Virtue's purpose. Our goal is to help shape the solutions to these problems. We want to find the answers, and we want to be able to tell the people in America how we can achieve these solutions. We at the American Virtue believe in order above all else. We believe in justice, and then we believe in liberty. We believe that Christ is the one true king, and we... That's right, that's right. Christ is king, Christ is king, Christ is king. That's right. We believe that America is it's a Christian nation. It's a Christian nation. We believe that America has one culture, a shared identity, a shared heritage, and a shared tradition. And that people trying to supplant that tradition, trying to destroy what made us America, are fundamentally opposed to us in every single way, and they must be stopped. We recognize that the media has failed.
That was extraordinarily awkward. And again, that was mainly because of the fact that he thought he had this epic applause line. And then there was like 2 seconds in there where people were thinking, okay, well, that wasn't cool, so I'm not going to clap for it. And then you come around and like 2.5 seconds into that gap of awkwardness, people are thinking, oh, crap, he was expecting something out of us. So some people are beginning to clap, but it's already too late. He nervously giggles to himself. And he's like, ah, crap, okay. And then he goes on. So, again, I'm just picking up on these little subtleties that most people will overlook. Again, he's a rookie in this. He's not going to be that good. And you can tell.
Us. We recognize that our institutions have failed us. Our elites have abandoned us. And we are in this fight alone. American Virtue will be the dominant voice for this emerging movement to fight back against the hordes of liberals that are, for some reason, fleeing from all of the states that they formerly resided in. Yeah, I don't understand that one, by the way. We have to understand that we are in a culture war. We have to understand that apathy to this fight is not good. It is a vice. We have to understand that hating to lose is probably one of the most important things that we can believe. Petty nitpicking and interpersonal squabbling is a hurdle to success. Relentlessly fighting for our beliefs on all fronts, in every fight, in every courthouse, in every hall and chamber in our government institutions is absolutely necessary. This so-called conservative movement, we just had 47 members of our conservative movement vote to codify gay marriage into law. Are you kidding me? They're not conserving anything. They're not conserving anything. This decision displays a contentness within the conservative movement. Go back 15 years and ask any conservative, ask them what they believe, and they tell you, yeah, actually, gay marriage is wrong. It should be illegal. It's between a man and a woman. That's what they tell you. And now we have the conservative movement codifying it into law. Are you kidding me? This is degrading our country.
Okay, finally. So Sabatini made a contrast between him and the establishment rhinos by saying that he's anti-legal immigration. And then David is going to also cement that difference by saying that he's anti-gay marriage as well. So this is important, right? To distinguish itself from SAS, from America Fest, or whatever other turning point sort of event, he's going to say that, oh no, I'm anti this. Very key to point out. That's cool.
Just take a look around. It's so clear to see. And tonight you're going to hear speeches from some of the best people, and you've already heard one, Sabatini, and I wish I could even compare, but we have a lot more on the way for you. We have Vince Dow, the editor-in-chief at American Virtue, online commentator. That's right, Vince Dow. Online commentator and political pundit, Dean Moser, or Monsieur Z, as some of you might know him online. The executive director of the Huffines Liberty Foundation, Adam Korzanuski. And then, kind of former right side broadcasting host and former congressional candidate, Mike Crispy. I am honored to be joined on stage and in the audience by a class of political operators and activists who know how to fight a culture war, because that's what we're in. We are in a new phase of this culture war. I have dozens of friends in this audience, and I'm honored to be joined by you. I want to give a special shout out to Carlson Wolf, James Anderson White, Charlie Svesca, Nathaniel Abbott, Jackson Rule, Radio Politics, CJ Trappier.
Whoa, big shout out!
And in the audience itself at this very moment to ensure that this event goes on without a hitch. What we have been
We'll see what chat says about these shout outs.
2 weeks to plan this event has been astronomical. The turnout is amazing, and I couldn't, this wouldn't happen without you guys, so please give yourself a round of applause. Because I look at this crowd, I look at the team of people that I have, and I just see magnificent people, intelligent people, people that are going to carry America into a new chapter, that will fight to rediscover America. And I look at the aligned organizations that I find myself standing beside, and I can say nothing but this: we are going to settle for nothing less but total victory.
Nice. Okay, he's picking up energy here. Let's go.
Thank you very much, and God bless.
That was kind of quick.
sure what will. Are you guys feeling like changing the world tonight? Now, our next guest is a testament to exactly how bright our...
Michael Alberto says in chat, good job on not hosting your event in Augie's old closet this time. I think he's referring to the event they had in New York. He's making an inside joke with the streamer on the internet. Okay. Again, these people are bitter. And, you know, this is a boring press conference to these people or whatever. And they're still A-logging it, which I find entertaining.
Our future is here at American Virtue. He's something of a cultural figure, a cultural icon, you can say, and he's got one hell of a right hook. And let me tell you, it's really been fantastic adding him to the team since he just randomly showed up to our event last year. That's the power of American Virtue. Great people like our next guest just can't help but come on board. So please, welcome to the stage none other than the legendary history YouTuber boasting over 180,000 subscribers, the iconic Mansoor Z.
It's a pleasure to be back in the great state of Florida in the city of Tampa, where just last year we hosted our first ever summit back as the American Populist Union. That feels like only yesterday, doesn't it? And in that time, we had events in Arizona and New York, too. This is a high-energy, highly motivated movement that's making a tangible difference in the political discourse of our generation. I look around and I see such people with such ambition, people with such potential, young men and women. And I want to emphasize that, seeing young men and women in this room. There's way too much division and conservatism today to be alienating the unique skills that men and women respectively have. And how impractical is that? We're a conservative, traditionalist movement, right? We believe in protecting families and building the country. But it takes a man and a woman to make a family.
Again, that was provocative insofar as people knew reflexively that that's taking shots in America first, you know, with the whole incel mentality and the irony poisoning that is going on. And the people in the chat were seething. I was watching certain streamers, and they were seething at the fact that he said that it takes a man and a woman to start a family. And normally that wouldn't provoke a response, and yet people felt so compelled to comment something about it. That makes me a little bit concerned about how mad people are going to be in terms of, I completely fucked up my train of thought there. I was looking at something else. Yeah, no, but basically the point I was making is that people are going to be mad because he said that it takes a man and a woman to start a family and, you know, preserve a race or whatever. And people are going to be mad at that because it's, you know, anti-incel. But again, you shouldn't be viewing yourself as an incel because that makes you look like a loser. It's like if you said, oh, you're being anti-poor. And it's like, well, you don't want to be a poor F-slur, okay? So again, and I'm going to be reading the chat as well because the people in the chat were having very polarized opinions about Mansoor Z, right? Mr. Z is a pretty good YouTuber. He has a great voice, and that's going to be like his strongest, not vessel, strongest, what would you use here? Strongest weapon in this case, okay? He's going to have the best voice in this movement, and that's going to let him look good. People are going to talk shit about him because he's brown. I don't know how, you know, white he is, but then again, look, for all these people that are saying, oh, Wignats are bad optics, and then you're going to be, you know, talking trash about Vince Dow because he's Asian, talking trash about Mr. Z because he's brown or Italian or whatever. Again, where are your optics, buddy?
In a matter of years, we'll be responsible for raising the next generation, whether you become a parent or just a role model for some kid who's looking to you for guidance in an increasingly confusing world. Odds are we won't fix the mess that this country is in by that point, and they'll be born into an extremely hostile and toxic society, a society determined to warp their minds and destroy their bodies. They will be born fighting, and they will almost certainly continue the work that we have begun here if there's any hope of salvation. We need them to be raised strong, and by men and women, that's you, who are themselves strong. And many of us might feel unready for any of that. You're not cut out to be a parent. You don't have enough money. You're not strong enough. You're not a good enough role model. But your whole life has been a journey to become the best version of yourself that you can be and find that partner who complements your strengths so that you can ultimately raise a new generation even better than yourselves. I do believe we would all agree that in our present society there's an excess of weak men and misguided women. That is men who stand for nothing, who are incapable or unwilling to take action for their own betterment, let alone the betterment of something even greater than themselves. And of women who have foregone traditional purpose and morality for a perverse, indulgent, and ultimately unfulfilling cause of social justice or self-empowerment. And it's not just on the left. We must acknowledge these issues within our own faction if we have any hope of stopping them. Yeah. Gentlemen, you must strive to be ideal examples of masculinity, examples of strength, strong in mind, body, and spirit. You are the firm support upon which society rests. You're who your family will turn to for answers, for help, and for guidance when the worst-case scenario is upon you. You will not have a family if you cannot provide that. You're the future soldiers, leaders, and builders of the world. And that future is much closer than you realize. Ladies, you must strive to be ideal examples of feminine virtue. You are the living standard of moral purity and the glue that holds civilized society together. Men fight wars to protect you, dedicate their lives to becoming someone capable of providing for you, and leave themselves vulnerable to you in a way that they wouldn't anybody else. Men will not do this for women without virtue. It is said that young women have the world at their fingertips because every man wishes to cater to them. It's tempting to take advantage of such a thing. It's tempting to fall into habits of immediate pleasure at the expense of the long term. But that's not a woman a man can trust as his wife, and not a woman a man can trust to raise his children. Men, be strong. Women, be virtuous. Do this and you'll have a generation capable of combating and defeating our enemies. Back in May, I gave a speech in Manhattan on the subject of conservative flight. There's a terrible tendency of conservatives to flee blue urban areas of the country for red rural areas of the country. My bad there. This is a failing strategy, and this is a mentality of surrender. I just spoke about raising the next generation, about starting families, and a lot of you probably pictured like a nice scene in the country of a house and a wheat field in a state like Texas. But that is a luxury we cannot afford. The conservative part of the country is spread out, underpopulated, disorganized. Cities where most of the liberals live are densely populated, so much so that these cities can't hold all of them, even despite the fact that they're always expanding outward. So many of the people in these cities aren't fond of conditions there either. They want to move to nicer areas, redder areas. California used to be conservative, Virginia used to be extremely conservative, and now they're talking about turning Texas and Montana and Georgia into swing states or blue states. And they will if we don't stop them. If we want to win, if we want actual victory in the culture war, if we want to restore a conservative America, we don't need more people moving to the sticks of any red state. What we need is to take back the real centers of power in the country. We need to take the cities. New York City dominates the entirety of New York State. California has multiple cities keeping it blue, while Oregon and Washington are dominated by Portland and Seattle, respectively. You take these spots of blue away, and you have largely red states. The battle for the control of your red state may very likely hinge on a single city. But the city is expensive. Well, that's a cost of war. The city is far away. Well, that's a cost of war. The city is dangerous. Well, that's a cost of war. If the colonials who founded this country did not brave harsh, hostile, and unfamiliar lands, then there never would have been a United States of America.
Again, the way that he says it makes it sound a lot better than it is, but I fundamentally disagree with his opinion here, and it's pretty obvious. And you can tell that he doesn't have a good idea here because he says that it's a cost to war, right? So you're painting yourself as in a war, and when you're in a war, drastic consequences are justified. And because of that, you're going to over-exaggerate the problem, which is going to be the polarization of the city towards being blue, and then saying that you need Republicans and conservatives to move to blue areas to cauterize the effects of liberalism in these areas instead of going where they feel comfortable, which would be the outside of the city, obviously the suburbs or whatnot. And he's saying that that's vital to keeping America stable or whatnot. Now, the problem with that being is that he's probably wrong in either way. It's not worth it. And he's going to say that any inconvenience or any problem with that logic is just a cost of war. So it's kind of like a fallacy when you think about it. And I don't think he's thought this through, but I will say that.
State and local rights are a noble principle, but go unhonored by opposition, who has demonstrated repeatedly that they're willing to use the full brunt of federal power against us at any level. We must be willing to respond in kind with mass concentrated political action against and from within their territory. We are locked in a struggle for existence against these people, who should do away with us by any means necessary. Our culture, our beliefs, and our values are an affront to their own. We are in a political and cultural war, and we cannot win without invading our enemy's territory and taking it for ourselves. Understand that we cannot have a conservative America without a conservative California, a red New York, or a Republican Illinois. You've seen their immigration policies. They've been invading and conquering our lands for decades now, and the conservative solution has always been retreat. How can anyone expect us to win like this? We need the coordination and national pull that comes from densely populated urban areas. You can flee from blue states and blue cities all you want, but all you're doing is giving up some of the most powerful regions of the country to our enemies, while you run and hide. And they will come for you, and if not for you, they'll come for your children, or your children's children, until there is nowhere left to hide. Failing to assert control over our nation's centers of power does nothing but kick the problem further down the line and make it more difficult to achieve. Will you dare force your responsibilities onto the next generation? Today you have a choice. Brave the blue parts of the map and turn them red, or flee and raise your kids in a red area just so that they'll have to do what you failed to do. Only now in that conservative town that has fallen to leftism, because you chose flight instead of fight. Are you tired of the left year after year chipping away?
Again, he fucked up here. He said, oh, so your kids that grow up in the rural areas are going to have to fight the liberals that took over the rural areas. But if you Republicans stayed in the rural areas, why would the left take over the rural areas? So he's basically saying it's a better idea to divert Republicans from rural areas and instead go to the cities, but theoretically the smaller group of Republicans are still going to hold on to the rural area. How? So again, this logic is profoundly stupid, but he's going to have the voice mogging feature to come off as confident.
Our political influence and our territory. Then it's high time we finally go on the offensive. They want to open our borders and let new Democrat voters invade our country. They want to transplant urban populations to rural areas. They want to transform your home into their vision for America. All right, let's give them a taste of their own medicine. And you know what? Unlike their invasion, ours will actually make their lives better. It'll make life better for every American.
I remember this.
For conservatives, when we must finally invade and conquer the liberal cities. I want to see an unrelenting flood of conservative citizens in New York City.
So we saw a 5-second intermission there where the signal went out or whatever, and that is due to incompetency, which the opposition will pounce on, and justifiably so, honestly, and that's somewhat embarrassing. And again, a lot of this could be fixed by hiring better people, and I'm not going to go into it, but there was some bad hiring going on in the background, and I'll just say that much. But yeah, no, this is really bad.
Los Angeles, Chicago, every single blue stain on the map, and I want to see that map turn red. Start small. Take power in local institutions and build a name. Show the citizens of these cities how well we can lead and how much we can do for a community that's under conservative control. The average citizen will follow and the radical opposition will be ostracized. Lead through example. Grow and expand until you and your allies have built a deeply entrenched power network. Then you take the mayorship and the governorship. You need to stomp out left-wing propaganda in schools, institute policy that turns cities into what they were always meant to be. Pinnacles of civilization. If a city is a reflection of the heights civilization can achieve, how terribly must our civilization have fallen to where no one wants to live in the monuments we have built? This is the real culture war. It isn't won by holding the line, and most certainly isn't won by retreating. Victory rests upon us going on the offensive, and that means moving into enemy territory permanently. It is a commitment, but ultimately is the only way we can win. We are sacrificing comfort today for security and prosperity tomorrow. Today's cities are the untamed frontier, but tomorrow they will be the pride and joy of conservative America. The future belongs to conservatism, and tomorrow belongs to Gen Z. Thank you.
All right.
So please, if you need to use the restroom, I don't want you guys to have to stick around and, okay, thank you.
So that was really awkward. Apparently, he took a 5-minute break. I don't know why that happened. I haven't asked anybody that was there. I assume that it was because Don Huffines wasn't ready or because of the technical issues. Either way, that's really embarrassing. And again, this is like another problem. So, yeah, like I said, there's a litany of issues here in regards to how everything went down. And basically, it's going to let people that are against American virtue crap on it. Very simply because of technical issues. And this could have been avoided, again, if people were better organized or if certain people weren't hired. And that is something that is simply the fault of whoever was running it. And that's all I have to say on that. Let's go ahead and skip around. Obviously, like 5 minutes later, right? So, like here?
And I can go on and on. But never forget also that the elitists, the Republicans and the Democrats, shut our country down, destroyed our liberty, closed our schools. And now the Democrats are trying to take away our guns, our Second Amendment rights. Well, all these are a failure of leadership.
Tell me
in our country.
Don
what made
Huffines
America
doesn't
great is
look
that
like George
people,
Bush, by the way.
average people, took responsibility and rose up to the challenges at the time, at the time they were alive. Today, dishonest politicians routinely lie. They squander their mandate to do the right thing. It's a story as old as time. If it was up to the average elected Republican, I don't think we'd ever have much of a conservative government or conservative policy. I'm not even convinced they'd lower taxes. They love to spend your money, but we got to hold their feet to the fire. The political establishment have no incentive to do the right thing without someone shaming them and without a genuine challenge.
He sounds like
every
Rand
election
Paul, by the way.
And every primary. In the last few years, alternative establishment politics have become louder and louder. We are seeing the mainstream acceptance of what regular voters have demanded of their elected officials. We've seen a lot of great victories lately also. Strong, young leaders like Anthony Sabatini of Florida. The future is hopeful because of people like Anthony.
So far his delivery seems very disingenuous, and you can tell that it was a stump speech. But again, like having him there is going to increase notoriety for the event, so I'm okay with them doing that. Just, you know, he phoned it in, whatever, that's fine. And he sounds like a mix of Rand Paul and God knows who else, and he looks like a mix between David Duke and George W. Bush. I just thought that was funny to point out. And I'll probably skip around in regards to the Doug Huffine speech because I don't really care about him. He lost by a lot. And I was completely vindicated on that. And all the people that spent time campaigning for him made an ass out of themselves. And it was funny, okay? So let's go ahead and skip around. And if you guys were wondering what that background noise was, I was playing Madden 22 in the background. And I still am.
For years, pundits have claimed Roe was settled, for instance, settled law. Now we're turning back the abortionists, the murderers of our children. And we're saving so many lives. These victories are primarily because of the grassroots. Grassroots activism is how these politicians get into office, and that's how we can hold them accountable. My message to you and to young folks is that you have to become the best person you can believe. Politics is about the people and the message. We have the right message. We have the solutions.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Study it, and we'll win every battle. Get out there and win some. God bless you. God bless Texas. God bless the USA.
Okay. The audio isn't working. Guys, the audio is not working. Adam Korzensky. I can't read his name. So that graphic does not work. And State of the Movement, like having that appear makes no sense either. And so the audio isn't working. And we'll read the chat to see what they were saying because I kind of vaguely remember this happening. People are spamming over here. You know, again, very good faith, very good optics, just shitting on other people like that. Very cool.
I learn to door knock. That's how you go out there and get something done. Because you don't care what the liberals have to say. Because they're always going to vote Democrat no matter what. You go talk to normal people. The normal people who are suffering right now. You know, we have tons of brains. We have brains coming out of our ears. Everybody wants to be a thinker.
That sounds ridiculous. I don't know who this guy is. I don't really care for it. He looks like Peter Hitchens. That's all I'll say. We'll skip around.
When they're making minimum wage, and that's a lot for them. And those people are waiting 48 hours. They're sleeping in folding chairs to wait to see President Trump. Now, why would they do that? Why would they sleep in a chair? Nobody wants to sleep in a chair. And that's because those people are looking, and they have been looking, and they found it with the movement that we started. They're looking for hope, that they're not going to get left behind. And they feel when they show up to the Trump rally, when they show up to the movement, that they are part of something that is going to take the country back, and that when they go to that event, they're with like-minded people and they know that there is hope for the future. That's why they go, and that's why they love it. So I would love going to these rallies and talking to these people who sometimes drove, they drove for 10 hours and 20 hours. It's crazy. But the reason they're doing that is because deep down, they all know, they won't say this because I don't know if they fully even, realize it, but they know that they've been left behind by the Washington politicians, okay? They know that they have been sold out, and they're selling everybody in this room out, and enriching themselves, and enriching the lobbyists, and there is no greater example of it than...
See, you get that impassioned speech. You can tell that he was not phoning it in compared to Sabatini and other people. But then again, I think Mike Crispy isn't elected to anything, as far as I know, so maybe that's why he cares more than the other people. But his speech goes on forever, by the way.
This organization and community has had a great influence on me, and they have really contributed to my fiery passion for politics. They also helped me take that final leap of faith into announcing my candidacy.
Today, I'm proud to announce that a very close friend of this community has actually done it, folks.
Here, as you look at down in the state house, there's a lot of people, a lot of solid people, Zoomers even, that were winning some of these races. I believe Matt Heilman, I think he actually might watch the channel. He follows me on Twitter. He's like 20, and he ended up winning his primary or advancing in his primary because I think that they have 2 people per district, but he actually ends up advancing, so he's likely going to go into the state legislature, so you absolutely love to see it.
Matt faces an uncontested general election in November. At 21, he will be...
This organization and movement are changing the world, and my campaign is living proof of that. And I really want to thank them for all their hard work and dedication because they do such a good job at what they do.
I hope that eventually that's what we see as a fruit of all of this labor, right? And ultimately, that's what makes our media operation relevant and, politically important, I would say, in the grand scheme of things.
I'm optimistic about the future of American virtue, and I'm confident in their ability to help influence young conservatives across the nation.
So that is a tangible thing that the American virtue can take credit for. I don't know how much they did to actually help this guy win. And I don't really care either because I don't think that anybody's going to complain. And that is a tangible win, like I said, to have a guy win a seat. And again, you have to keep in mind, and I don't want to be an asshole about it, but clearly he just got lucky and nobody else ran, I guess, because nobody cares about that position. It's not a big deal, I assume, because, that... I don't know. I think he got lucky because there's certain elections, like I noticed recently that if you were to run for student council or not student council, the student district council, whatever the heck it is called. Yeah. So the county, how do you call it? The county district something, right? Where you can be almost like an alderman for a town. Virtually nobody has the mind to actually run for that position. So if you get lucky, you could just put your name in and win without even doing anything at all, which kind of points to show that a lot of these elections, especially in the state of North Dakota, are going to be wide open. And so when the APU or the American Virtue can take credit for these things, that's good. And to have a video where the guy endorses them is awesome because nobody's going to remember the fact that they didn't really have to do anything to help him. It'll just look like a win in the grand scheme of things. So that's an unadulterated W for the American Virtue. At least I think so. And I don't know what the haters are going to say about this, other than to make fun of him, I guess.
Isn't that awesome? Another Gen Z, one of us Zoomers out there doing God's work. So as I hope you can learn from tonight, there is a way to channel our youthful energy and our fresh ideas into a serious and coordinated march into political power. So many people just want to pick one or the other, but truly we need both. And that brings us to our final address of the evening. One of our very own, he is a political commentator that boasts a network of almost 200,000 followers. It's been published in the Great Chronicles magazine and was featured in Newsweek's magazine's list of top up-and-coming conservatives. Ladies and gentlemen, to close us out tonight, please welcome to the stage the editor-in-chief of American Virtue, our very own Vince Dow.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's great to be here. I do have to say, I love you too. Let's go!
Audio check. What?
I do have to say it's a little weird giving the closer because, we usually have me do the opener. You might remember that last year. And we usually leave the closer for John Doyle, but sadly he cannot be here in person tonight, so you got the cheap Vietnamese knockoff instead. Okay, sorry about that. This is literally the great replacement, guys, happening right in front of you. It's just so true.
That's not going to be good for the people that are calling you Asian, but okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
And, we don't always shout them out, but can we also get a round of applause for the unseen people, and that is our great team behind the scenes at American Virtue that really made this all happen. Truly.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is the final speech, and I know it's getting late, so I'm not going to keep you too long or bore you with any complicated ideas of, political philosophy or anything like that. Instead, I am going to deliver to you the most basic, yet most important message in the history of conservatism, which is this. It's time to fight.
Oh, my God.
Cheesy, I know, right? This is something you hear from conservative figures all the time, but how many people actually mean it? Not many. We are told by forces on all sides not to fight. Conservative think tanks and these National Review people will publish these articles about principled conservatism and why we should let the left take over everything, New from the National Review, it goes like this. New from the National Review, the conservative case for letting our enemies destroy America. So conservative, right? Okay. We see this all the time. Many such cases. So-called analysts will try to tell us that being authentically conservative makes us quote-unquote unelectable. Really? Mainstream Christian preachers will tell us not to comment on social issues like Roe versus Wade because it will quote-unquote cause division. Are you kidding me? It's the exact opposite of everything that Christianity teaches.
He's pretty high energy, I'll give him that.
Tells the Zoomer generation like us that we don't know what we're doing and we need to wait our turn. Very sad.
Again, look at what this person named Burgess Killinger or whatever. This guy is a Chinese spy, by the way. Again, on what basis? Because he's Asian and you don't like him? All these ethnic slurs or, just like making fun of him for his race is just completely retarded and unbiblical. And it's really easy to point out.
Here's some news for you. All right, here's some news for you. We're tired of waiting. Simply put, we're tired of waiting, and we're tired of waiting not because we're a bunch of impulsive, rambunctious young hotheads who just want to be rebellious or something. We're not like the emo punk rock kids or like the hippies or any, those people. We are the conservatives. So, we understand hierarchy, we understand tradition. We really don't
Again, that's unprofessional to have this sort of interruption there. Clearly, the software is not working. I don't know, but that's not good at all. Not a good look.
Literally, all they have done and all they have trained us to do is lose. At every turn, they have lost and lost and lost. They only know how to lose, and this is the truth. Behind this fancy veil that you may see in D.C., behind the suits and the donors and the cocktail parties, these people legitimately don't know what they are doing. It's true. Because if they had any degree of competency, we wouldn't have a drag queen story hour or even a President Joe Biden today. I mean, this is true. Yeah. Yet here we are, living the consequences of their failures. We are the generation that has had to literally witness the death of the American dream right in front of us. I mean, we grew up kind of at the end point where we sort of still were somewhat of a country, and then we just basically watched that disintegrate before our very eyes. And quite frankly, we are sick and tired of it. So to the establishment, we say this. It's time for you to embrace the movement that Donald Trump started in 2016, or get the heck out of the way. Seriously. And I know I frame this as an age thing, but Christie's much older than we are. Not much older. Sorry, a little bit older than we are. Same thing with Sabatini, et cetera, but it really is a state of mind thing, right? Because there are 50-year-old middle Americans who think just the way we do, and sadly, there are kids our age who think the way the establishment does. And you see them on LinkedIn all the time. I don't know if you guys ever go on there, but, I got my new internship. Oh, it's so fancy, On the flip side, we do have elected officials with us in the audience that think just like us. So really, I would say you're never really too young or too old, right? You're never too rich or too poor to get in the fight. All it takes is the courage, the moral courage that 90% of the self-proclaimed conservatives in D.C. do not have. And that's why their entire generation needs to be replaced. Replaced with people like Donald Trump, Anthony Sabatini, and Don Huffines, right? And my Crispy, sorry. I keep snubbing Crispy in the speech. I'm like, he's much older, and then I forget to say him in the list. Okay, my Crispy too. Sorry. And of course, replaced with people whose first priority is the renewal of this country and its people, not service to the World Economic Forum and their liberal world order. Replaced with people who are willing to speak with action, not just empty rhetoric for Fox News hits or GOP fundraising emails, of course. And truthfully, that's what really defines this generation of conservatives. Because we could talk extensively about our ideological differences with the neoconservative class, and trust me, there are many. But what really distinguishes us from them is not any matter of complex political principle. It's simply the fact that we are willing to fight and they are not. Yeah. When it comes to social issues, for instance, abortion, gay marriage, many such others, we take a principled stand on tradition and morality, and they do not. When it comes to foreign policy, we put the American people first, and they do not. When it comes to religion, we put God first, and they do not. It really is that simple. And we are tired of their lies. We are tired of it. We are tired of the people who have raped this country of its soul and its dignity, but we are also tired of the people who have made excuses for that destruction. Whether that's some libertarian economist explaining to factory workers in the Midwest why the death of small-town America was a good thing because of the free market, really? Or some Republican congressman explaining why amnesty is a good thing because of freedom or the American dream or something. Or, of course, them saying regulating big tech, protecting free speech on big tech is bad because of big government or something like that. Yeah. No more of this, okay? No more of this. Here's the new mentality. They say we are culture warriors. We say, yes, we are. They say we are a threat to the established order of things. We say, yes, we are. They say we are Christian nationalists. We say, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are the fighters. It's true. We are at a cultural war for American civilization, and unlike them, we are going to treat it as such. Because while they cling to this nostalgic memory of the Cold War, we actually understand that fundamentally the Cold War never ended. It never ended. And I'm not talking about Russia or China necessarily. I'm talking about the fact that Marxism in itself is a borderless, nationless cancer of an ideology, and so true. And it's based on the idea of a worldwide revolution. Right?
Okay, this is just getting really cringe. I'm sorry, guys. I could be really nice, but I'm gonna be really honest. This is just trite. I've heard this a lot. Now then again, I watch Vince's streams often. I wonder, I stutter in my own show. Would I not stutter in person? This is why most people need to be more sympathetic to the speakers that are stuttering, because I feel like most people would actually not be so lucid than what they are in their head. Okay, I feel like most people that are speaking in Vince's position would be more awkward than him, which is why I don't give him too much shit about that. And I'll give Vincent credit for trying.
It was also true of the slippery slope within our own culture, our own institutions, right? It's the same thing. This is true. This is how it works. And I don't like China. They don't like us. We should not do business with them. We should not prop up their government economically and, et cetera. But the fundamental battle against Marxism isn't happening over there. It's happening right here. So with that said, it is time for that cold warrior mindset of the 1980s that has been trapped across the seas and Ukraine and wherever else for decades to finally come home and fight the battle for its own civilization, for our civilization. And with the same fervor that the conservatives of the past fought the first Cold War, we too must fight the second Cold War. And that is the cultural war. That is the spiritual war for our own nation and our own civilization. It's okay to say this, you know? Some people will say it sounds cheesy, it's over the top, whatever, over dramatic, but it's actually just true. You know, our enemy, even if it presents itself in a different way, our enemy is still communism, still Marxism, which is of course fundamentally Satanism at its core. Yeah. And, you know, the battlefields may change and the enemies may wear different faces, but the fundamental war between good and evil will remain to the end of the age, and we ought to recognize it as such. We ought to fight it as such. It's true. So the one last thing I will say is don't get demoralized, okay? Demoralization is a lie from the enemy, okay? The worst thing he can convince you of is this idea that the left won, the war is lost, and resistance is futile. That is a dangerous lie. And the saddest part about it, the saddest part, is that it could not possibly be further from the truth. Because if there's one thing we know for certain, if there's one absolute truth that we know in this world, it's this. Victory is inevitable. Truly, victory is inevitable. Because we know that even if we lose every single political and cultural battle on this earth, every single battle, the war is not lost. The war is not lost because we know that one day, good will defeat evil.
Again, not to be a dick, but, I mean, theoretically, he's implying that, you know, God's going to come back and that everything's going to be fixed because when God comes back, everything will be fixed. But if we're talking about America, and America staying alive and prospering as a bastion of conservatism, then how is it that when God comes back, God is going to allow for the Antichrist or Satan or whoever to destroy the planet, right? Like, if God cared so much about, you know, America and conservatism, why would he allow Satan to destroy the world, you know, after the book of Revelation and all that? It's obvious that whatever we do here is kind of not that relevant in the grand scheme of things because it'll all get destroyed. Then again, obviously God wins at the end, but then again, God wins no matter what happens. This is why I don't care so much about politics, is because, you know, even if we fix America, God's going to let it get destroyed anyway. So who fucking cares? But we're going to let Vince finish.
We know that one day, justice will defeat injustice. And if it doesn't happen at our hands, we know that one day, justice will reign from the sky, wielding a sword and riding on a white horse, and he will crush the enemy. He will crush the head of that ancient serpent, that deceiver of the world, once and for all.
Gosh. Yo, he went off. Jeez.
And he will wipe every tear from our eyes, and there will be no more crying, there will be no more pain, and there will be no more death, because the former things will have passed away. Creation will be redeemed. In our darkest hours, let this bring comfort to every American patriot. When every worldly source of power is against us, politicians, the media, the corporations, the elites, let us remember that on our side are forces far greater and more powerful than anything they could ever muster. More powerful than anything all of the wealth and power in the world could possibly put together. Blessed are the persecuted. Blessed are those who endure to the end of the age.
Again, so he's making this a Bible thing, but like, again, if you think it through, which I don't think he has, in the Bible, it says that the world will be destroyed at the end, right? When after the tribulation and all that. So why fix something if it's going to get destroyed? It's kind of like a sandcastle, really. Of course, it's nice to have a good sandcastle, but also understand fundamentally that it's going to be destroyed no matter what you do. So again, this is why I don't care so much. This is why I'm more relaxed than anybody. But, you know, still. He's really pleased with himself. I think he's getting a good reaction from the audience so far.
To political war, to cultural war, to spiritual war, we go.
Okay.
And truly, even if we lose every battle on this earth, regardless of what happens in any and every battle on this earth, we know that in the end, our day of vindication will come. Do not forget that. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Total Dow vindication question mark.
If you're a
Interesting.
VIP, go ahead and stay in here. We have a little evening with Ready Go Politics and Badan. Just a little bit, little meet and greet, little Q&A. Also, don't forget to follow American Virtue on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And don't forget, we will make America virtuous again. We will make America proud again. We will make America base again.
Oh, shit.
We will make America safe again.
Okay.
And we'll make America great again. Thank you guys.
Oh
God bless.
my gosh. Okay, that is so cheesy. That's cute. That's cute. It's cheesy, bro. Oh my god. So that was that. I could cover the Red Eagle stuff. I'm not gonna, for a myriad of reasons. But yeah, so that's a VIP thing I'm not gonna do. But the point being is that you saw the main event. So far, you saw my reaction. You can tell that it was not that positive. I tried to be gentle. Okay, that sounded gay. Point being is that, again, people are gonna give unfair criticism, you know, on racist premises. And again, I'm not like a liberal or anything. But you just see the bitterness and like the haters, and that's why I'm partially pro American Virtue, is because the people that hate American Virtue are vile people. they'll denigrate Vince Dow for not being white, and that's not Christ-like. And then secondly, they're going to make fun of David for the way he looks when he's not reciprocating that same hatred back. So that's why I see the haters as more of a vindication of me being pro-American virtue, tacitly because of that. And, you know, again, the event itself was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I feel like it was a beginner's thing. I think it'll get better if they continue with these. I feel like the next one will be substantially better. And I don't think that they maliciously made this bad. It's just that there was a couple of people that were hired that were incompetent. Hopefully by the next event, let's say by next year, that won't be the case. And I trust in the people that are running it that it'll be resolved for the most part. And again, I wish the best for the people that were involved. The speeches, you know, they were trying for the most part. You know, general criticisms will go like this. With David, it was kind of awkward. Again, this is just because he's young and he doesn't know better. Vince, not as awkward. I think Vince has more charisma than David, to be honest, and that is the truth. And Mr. Z, again, has a great voice. I think he can get really good at this sort of thing going forward. What I will point out, though, is that Mr. Z is clearly not in the exact same corner of the internet as the other people in APU or whatever, which is why he has like these different opinions about geographic politics and all that. And it just doesn't gel well with our sort of conservatism. I'll be honest about that. So hopefully he learns more and he like drops that, because it's pretty stupid. And again, I don't hate the guy. I'm just saying that, you know, the whole like, oh, we need to move into the cities is kind of ridiculous. But I don't really care about politics. Like I said, I just can't be bothered. But I will say this, you know, congratulations on the effort. I think it was a win. You got enough politicians to show up to warrant its existence. A lot of people had fun with it, apparently. And I think it's going to blossom into something bigger than it was already, which is going to be good. I think the rebranding is a step in the right direction. You know, American Populist Union isn't as good as American Virtue, so I'll give you guys credit for that. And hopefully I didn't piss anybody off that deserved not to. And in regards to the people that are hating on American Virtue, you know, go fuck yourselves. You know, again, oh, we hate the Wignats, but also you're Asian. What? Oh, you're Indian. What is up with that? Optics, hello, optics check. See, this is probably why a lot of people are pro-American virtue, is just to spite the other side, because clearly they cannot get through a coherent message without being racist. And again, we're not liberal. We're just calling out the Wignat sort of rhetoric when we see it. And it is so true. So yeah, no, that's it. Thank you all for watching. The review is that I was expecting a 5 out of 10. I got like a 4 out of 10. I'm not going to lie about that. Again, you know, I am friends with a lot of these people, so don't take it the wrong way. This is constructive. Trust the plan, guys. I'm on your side. But, you know, I'm known for my honesty and being brutal. So I'm going to double down on that. And hopefully, imagine they're like, okay, you can't speak at American Virtue 3 because you counter-signaled the first one. Look, I gave the most comprehensive American Populist Union Summit review last year, I believe. So I just thought it was obligatory of me to review it, just like how I review the John Doyle videos. So yeah, no, that is going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate literally all of you. And comment down below what you thought. Was I too harsh? Was I right on the money? Let me know. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.